Alright, we're going to tie a fly today called the Ego Beetle. We're going to start out with a 3x long streamer hook in the vise, size to match whatever you're wanting to do. We're going to take some 140 denier rusty brown thread and just take it back to the bend of the hook. Go ahead and clip that off or tear it off and have it just right in front of the barb. And take a piece of 3mm tan foam, and I went ahead and cut a notch or a peak to it just to help kind of bring down some bulk in the back part of this. And I'm just going to tie that in so that it hangs right at the barb. Kind of lash that down a little bit and bring your thread back to where that tie-in point is. And we're going to tie in some back legs. These are going to hang down in the water behind and kick in that current. These are Rootbeer barred flutter legs. We're just going to do one on each side. Tie it in on one side, pull it over. We want those legs to be right underneath that foam, so when we pull it back over the top, they're going to be underneath that. We're going to trim them to about a shank length long. So you can see that those stick behind there. We're going to take a brown saddle. This is Whiting Farms brown saddle hackle off of the saddle. And we're going to take it and we're going to prep it by cutting off the marabou on the bottom and then prepping this to be able to tie in. We will tie it on in the butt section with the dull side of the feather facing the hook. For our body, we're going to go ahead and use Caddis Green ice dub. We'll do this in green. I'll do it in a tan as well. Orange is a good color, and also red can be a good color. I'm going to go ahead and dub that on and just start to make a body here. I'm going to get those legs out of the way and make sure your first wrap is right at that tie-in point. Just going to make a nice thick body here. Make a little bit of a taper as we go up the hook. A little bit bigger at the front end is going to help that. And then we're just going to palmer through that saddle. And we'll tie that off at the front there. And clip that off. And we're going to trim the top portion of this and the bottom portion, but we're actually going to leave the sides of the hackle. We'll go ahead and clean that up at the front and then pull over that 3mm tan foam. We're going to bind it down right there at the front of the body. Give that a nice tight cinch. It's going to make that shell back of that beetle. Really, this is more of an attractor pattern than anything else, but it does, in smaller sizes, look like a little bit of a beetle. We'll take some McFlylon. This is the white, and we're going to tie it in once and then fold it over the top so that we've got two strands. And we want it to hang just past that butt section. Kind of unknot it, untangle it with your bodkin and your brush. Get that to be a nice wing. That's going to help that footprint and help it float a little better. So we want that to be right at the butt end of that foam when that lays back. I'm going to go ahead and take our front section here, and you notice that we didn't clip it. And we're going to take our scissors and poke a hole right where that eye of that hook is going to be. And then fold it through. Poke that eye through the front. Make sure that you don't tear that foam. That thing can tear. Just going to crease that a little bit and add some Zap-A-Gap. Kind of let that dry for a minute. Spread it evenly with your thumb. Kind of get it cinched to that foam. And then we can go ahead and take a couple wraps over the top of it once it starts to stick and make that head. Make sure your wraps are nice and tight in there. Helps segment that head. Take our scissors and cut off on the point here, but we want to get a razor blade. It's a little easier sometimes if you just cut off some of that extra section, but we want to make that razor blade cut right behind those thread wraps. Make sure that you don't get into that thread wraps. I like to leave a little bit of space there just for some security. Fish don't seem to mind at all. And then we're gonna square up this head. It's ideal if you can do it in one swipe. Sometimes it's a little bit tough at the backside there. Just clean it up with your razor blade. We want to make a nice parallel head to the side of the body. You can just kind of clean that up with your razor blade. Make sure it looks nice and uniform. So you can see we're pretty buggy there. I'm going to take some deer hair. And you want some decent length on it. Go ahead and clean it out. Get all that under fur out, and then we're gonna go ahead and throw it in our stacker. We'll go ahead and stack that up a little bit. Make sure our tips are nice and even. Cut off our butt section. Want those to be just about the same length as the McFlylon. We'll pull that down, make a little hairdo there, and kind of spread it out with our thumb and our finger, and kind of wrap through those butts just to secure it down a little bit. Want that to have a nice rounded effect to it. And actually what's going to happen is the back side of this is going to hang underneath the water, and the top section is going to ride flush with the water. We'll add a couple more rubber legs here on the front. Give it some more wiggle in the water. Get those where you want them to be, and then we can go ahead and whip finish through those butts. And cinch that down. Give it a clip. Trim those legs a little bit shorter in the front, and then the last thing to do is just add some eyes to it. It gives it a little bit of an effect. So that's the Ego Beetle. It's a real effective pattern for when there's during hopper season usually is when I throw it, or then when there's some larger caddis coming off. And go ahead and tie some up and enjoy. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Regal Vise Company, manufacturers of the world's best fly tying vices and accessories. And you can find any of our stuff on RockyMountainFlyDesign.com, or like us on Facebook, or follow us on Instagram at Rocky Mountain Fly Design. Thank you for watching.